great district. My daughter's kids went to town. I said,
Santo. Good evening, everyone. Can I please have a motion and a second to call the meeting of the Connecticut Board of Education to order?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I please have a motion to convene the public meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for our servicemen and women? Will the district clerk please call the roll?
Marisol Mallon, President.
Here.
April Anatelli, Vice President.
Present.
Jacqueline DiLorenzo, Trustee.
Present.
Sarah Parisi, Trustee.
Here.
Melissa Torregrossa, Trustee.
Present.
Dr. Joseph Centimore, Superintendent.
Present.
Reza Kolahifer, Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Personnel.
In the House.
Christina Poppy, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
Present.
John Allen, Assistant to the Superintendent.
Here.
Lori O'Hara, Executive Director of Professional Development and Special Ed.
Present.
Thank you so much. Let's get to it. I will now open the floor to anyone who wishes to make a brief statement regarding the proposed mascot settlement. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping to the podium. You should have received a number card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with Policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are more persons additional wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Before I call the first person, I just want to thank everybody, first of all, for coming out and sharing your views. I want to ask everybody to please be respectful of whomever is at the podium, whether you agree with their voice or what they're saying, or you don't agree, because everybody has the right to come and say what they need to say, and we want to hear what they want to say, so we want to do it in a respectful manner. So that is all I'm asking, that everybody respect who's at the podium and what they have to say. Number one. The podium is in the back, yes, I'm sorry. And there should be a microphone there, just press the button so that viewers at home could hear.
Sorry, my Superintendent and everyone on the panel, I appreciate you and all your hard work. I am a 79 Thunderbird graduate. Both of my children graduated from Connecticut High School, and I really feel very strongly that Thunderbirds is what we are. T-Birds is a nice nickname, but I believe that, we need to continue to fight to maintain the Thunderbird name. That's it, short and sweet.
Thank you. Number two.
My name is Lisa. I live in Ronkonkoma. The Thunderbirds has been represented for generations in this community, and it would be sad to know that families that continue or the legacy of your family can't enjoy that name. We've had it. I find it very sad that the government would make fights in this area when we have important things to do to protect people and serve them. And that, again, this has stood for a long time. I agree with my friend. T-Birds is a nickname. Thunderbirds was the original. I'd like to keep it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Number three.
My name is John. My wife Margaret and I have been members of the Connecticut community for, I'd say since 1967. We've had 4 children go through the school system. We've had 3 grandchildren go through the school system. We have 2 granddaughters who still live here, so hopefully somewhere down the road we will have great-grandchildren going through the system. For years, the mascot has been known as Thunderbirds. I see nothing wrong with the word Thunderbirds. I think it honors the Native American people who originally, started the name. And I wonder if we change it. I'm in full support of keeping Thunderbirds. I wonder if we could change it. If somebody down the road decides, no, T-Bird sounds too much like Thunderbirds, you're going to have to change it. Why don't we just call you the Birds? And at what point do people object to the Native American name Connecticut? At some point it has to stop. I know Massapequa is going through this with the chiefs, and I really think that the only reason that the state is willing to negotiate with you right now and come to this settlement, which is like kind of looking the weather, we know when you talk to each other, you're going to be the Thunderbirds, but officially you're going to be the T-Birds. I think the only reason that they're willing to compromise is because in Washington, the administration right now, and I'm not going to go into politics, but I'm just going to say it, as what I see on television. You have the support of the federal government. I think you would have the support of the Federal Department of Education. And I think the state realizes that. And I think if they come down too hard on you, that they could risk losing federal funding. And my thought is that you take this as far as you can. I realize there's money involved, I realize there's risks involved, but there are all kinds of risks in life. And I really think that keeping the name Thunderbirds is worth that risk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 4.
Hi, my name is Maria Anna Carciopolo. I'm alumni of Connecticut High School, and so is my mom, and my son will be joining Connecticut team in kindergarten on Tuesday. And I remember back in high school, like, it was such a pride to announce that we're Thunderbirds and T-Birds. Like, the whole school had, even going through junior high and high school, we showed so much pride being a Thunderbird and a T-Birds, and to take that away would take away our pride and everything. And I don't think it's offending anybody and everything. And I want my son to show the same pride that he's a Thunderbird or a T-Bird and stuff and everything. T-Bird's a nice nickname, and I think they should keep it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Number 5.
Yes, hello. My name is Mario Bastiancic. I'm an alumni of 81. And I echo the sentiments of most of everybody here that it should be Thunderbirds. T-Birds is only a nickname, and I don't see the difference, really. Also, I want to know if any of you know, if it does go to T-Birds and the rebranding happens, is it going to cost the taxpayers money to rebrand? Does anybody know?
I do have the answer to that question. I'll let the superintendent answer. We have numbers for the public.
Okay.
Thank you. You're good? You're good? Stop time. In terms of being in full compliance, which means a complete change, no, I just want to, yeah, it's approximately 324,000 to just change Thunderbirds and keep T-Bird and keep all the current logos and imagery as proposed in this settlement. It's approximately $86,000.
It is a line, though, that we already had in our budget that was voted on last year. So it's nothing extra. It's already in our budget for this year.
Okay, I was just concerned about that because, you know, I don't think anybody wants their taxes going up anymore, especially for something superficial like this. So, but anyway, thank you.
So I don't know if this would make a difference as far as taxes going up, because as Ms. Iannatelli said, the $323,000 was already added to our budget for last year, so that's already counted into state taxes. I do have litigation numbers should we continue to proceed with the litigation. So to appeal the district court's decision, we would need an estimated cost of $20,000 to $25,000. The board already approved $50,000, of which I believe there's $7,000 left of that allotment. So we would have to approve more monies. If the appeal is then successful, the matter would be returned to the district court for further litigation, including a trial. And an estimated cost of that litigation would be about $125,000. So those are the litigation numbers that I have. Number 6.
Had we done what this board wanted to do, we would have been the cherry blossoms by now. We wouldn't have even fought for T-Birds. So that's first. Second, we thought that it was going to be over $100,000 from day one, and we didn't even spend $50,000. 2. 3, we all know that this is only happening because the federal government and President Trump is fighting harder for the Connecticut Thunderbirds than this board is. The board planned a last-minute meeting with Labor Day weekend, 1 day away, while many are on vacation, pretty much done by design to get the results the Board of Ed majority is pushing for. To hold a so-called public meeting to let the community have a say. But the truth is that this Board of Ed majority has kept the public in the dark while pushing their own agenda, protecting their own board seats. That's what this deal is really about. This deal was offered in June, not August. But only now are we coming forward with whatever you guys want to do. We all know that 3 of you are already a yes. Everything I'm about to say is verifiable. What the community needs is transparency and accountability. The people have already spoken in June. An overwhelming 60.66% of residents voted to continue litigation to keep Thunderbird's name. Yet from the very beginning, the board has made it clear they do not want the public to decide. They only now are trying to take a backtrack through this damage control at its very best. This is corruption, deception, and the district faces a September 10, 2025 litigation deadline. On April 12, 2025, the Board of Ed president received a list of options regarding whether to continue litigation to keep the Thunderbirds or pursue alternatives like Thunder, Thunderbolts, or T-Birds. Instead of presenting these options openly to the community, the Board of Ed tried to decide the issue behind closed doors, effectively wiping away decades of Thunderbird tradition and 2 years of litigation through private emails that go against open meetings law. When the board finally conducted a public survey, it came through that Thunderbirds was what they wanted, what the community wanted. But again, not what the board wanted, so the board had to find another way. Now, August 21st, 2025, a letter to the community tries to sell a false choice that the district must sign an agreement with the state to keep T-Birds. That is simply not true. The regulation leaves mascot decisions to local boards, and the state has already stated in writing, T-Birds is acceptable. No further agreement is needed, and the board is preparing to throw away the district's right to sue, because that is essentially what that settlement is, and pursue Thunderbirds never again for nothing. The community deserves honesty, not manipulation. The public already voted overwhelmingly. How many more times are you going to have this happen? The agreement being advanced by the Stronghold Board of Ed majority only does one thing. It protects the board members' seats from being removed by the state. That is the enforcement mechanism of the mascot ban, board member removal. The Native American Guardians just sent a letter to the president of the board. What are you doing? You just heard from Native Americans.
Thank you. Number 7.
Oh, wait, I have a couple of things to say. First, I would like to, for the record, let everyone know that when we went back and we were denied the first litigation we were in, most board members at the time didn't want to ask the state for T-Bird. I fought to ask for T-Bird because we are the T-Birds, and it wasn't even on the table. So the fact that we went back to the state and asked if we could be the T-Birds, knowing that they said no already to the Thunderbirds, we lost the case in court. I thought that was our best option. So that is honesty, that is how that happened. Second, I would like to make it clear that the settlement proposed from the state is only effective if all terms are accepted. One of those terms requires that the current litigation would be withdrawn, while still offering the ability to return to Thunderbirds if Part 123 is overturned in the future. This means that the use of T-Bird is not a standalone right until the full agreement is signed and finalized. The State Education Department retains the right to withdraw the option at any time until we actually sign a paper. I'm trying to think of all the things you said. I wanted to make sure that we have the facts on the table, because it's always good to know all information when coming up with a decision. Oh, this is what I wanted to say too. I wanted to say, what does the board gain from Thunderbird or T-Bird? Like, if you really think about it, what do 5 of us gain? It's only the community who can speak on this, due to the fact that we can't keep our seats. We can't do, like, that doesn't affect us. in that way. Massapequa's not changing the chiefs. Did anybody get removed? No. I mean, we really have to keep the facts here. No one is afraid of losing their seat. We want to hear from the community. We want to know what the community wants.
I'd like to add a little something as far as the conditions of the agreement, since April did bring that up. Thank you, April, for that. Another condition of the agreement is that we sign off and state that T-Birds is deemed non-Native American, which opens us up to a federal Title VI civil rights violation, which could turn out to be very, very costly, as we will get slapped with a federal violation. Those are the conditions under which we are to accept T-Bird. No, T-Bird to us, it's Native American, it's Thunderbird, they're the same thing. But we would be actually signing something stating we are replacing a Native American term with a non-Native American one, which opens us up to a discrimination, a violation. We are discriminating on paper in court if that were to be signed. I think the public deserves to know that.
So, Ms. DiLorenzo, I actually appreciate you bringing up Title VI because I asked our legal team about it, and I actually have a response for that. So, to the extent that anyone would assume that by taking the settlement and complying with state law, Part 123, that the district would be in violation of Title VI, it should be noted that Part 123 was challenged in federal court, and a federal court judge ruled that Part 123 does not violate Title VI. That decision, as well as similar decisions issued in response to lawsuits filed by other districts, represent the only legal authority on the issue. For OCR or anyone else to establish that the district is violating Title VI by accepting this agreement, they would have to first go to court, get a judge to reject those decisions, and to hold Part 123 violates Title VI, which would then create a situation that would require the courts at the appellate level to weigh in, a very lengthy process. Even then, Part 123, if Part 123 is to be found unlawful, the OCR or anyone else would have to prove that the T-Bird constitutes a violation of Title VI, which would then be another lengthy litigation process.
Why would you want to go through that when we have every single person so far that spoke and said they want to continue with a Thunderbird?
I'm just saying that by
bringing that
taking the
question up.
settlement, we do not violate Title VI, which is what you were saying.
I was speaking, when everybody up here so far has said that they do want us to continue with the Thunderbird, as well as so far about, I want to say our emails, maybe half and half, but that's without them knowing some of these details, and prior to the 60% of the people want us to continue to fight. I'm just throwing that out there. Why even entertain it when the community
Well, I
has
just want the
spoken?
community to have full facts. We are not violating Title VI by accepting the settlement. Number 7.
I'd like to say something. So, there's been a lot of disingenuous stuff going on, clearly. Having said that, we also received something from another Native American group saying that they were going to file charges against us if we did go for the T-Birds. I think the public needs to know about that so that everybody has everything on the table. Okay. So as many people, as many Native Americans that are opposed to it, there are as many for it. That needs to be discussed. I sit here and I represent, my vote represents, I have to say it again, the majority of this community. Having said that, I don't know. I hear a lot of T-Bird, keep the T-Bird. And I think that there's a lack of understanding that keeping the T-Bird, I can't read whether they mean fight the good fight type of thing and go for Thunderbird and just utilizing the T-Bird as they're making that email or putting that email forth. I think everybody knows where I stand on it personally. I want to know what the public wants. Not go with the T-Bird. I want to know, do they want to fight for Thunderbird? Okay. And while all of you here want that, there are many residents that couldn't make it and emailed in. That's why I'm clarifying this. For the people that also emailed in, okay, saying go for this, this sounds good. I don't think that everyone understands that if we go with this, okay, it's not Thunderbird, it is solely T-Bird. I just want that out there. So if anybody put that in emails, they need to rewrite it, send it back, and be very specific. Continue the fight or settle.
Thank you. Number 8. 9. I'm just
There we go.
going to ask you to push the button. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm Rob Melvagno. Just a little bit, this school, I met my wife here. I graduated from Connecticut. My son, my daughter graduated. He did great accolades with the football team. I come from a military background as well as training law enforcement with my dad. My mother worked for Connecticut and retired here. Loyalty, courage, pride, that's what we all stood for. And I think that Thunderbirds is who we are. T-Birds will always be a nickname, but we are the Thunderbirds. And if we do get support from the Native American people, I think that's all we need, as well as the community. I think that the spending money, instead of wasting time on something like this, should be looked at a different level and spent somewhere else to help the school district. I believe that we'll make the right decision. Again, it's loyalty, courage, pride, and sometimes you have to stand up for what this means to families, generations. Thunderbird stands for courage and loyalty and pride and being together. And that's what instilled me in the military too. You stand by what you believe and you don't cower and drop to what other people feel. You're always going to hurt somebody. Someone's always going to, not agree with it. But we need to stop catering to the few and listen to the majority. And that goes with everything now. And I feel we are Thunderbirds. We will always be Thunderbirds. And I take it that you all will make the right decision for the community, for Connecticut School District, and for the rest of Long Island school districts, because it's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 10.
Good evening. I'm Bernadette Johnson. My children all graduated from here. And when you said about T-Bird being different than Thunderbird, I always assumed they were the same. So when you said T-Bird, I always thought Thunderbird. I don't even know why this is a discussion, why the government is making us change. To me, it's totally wrong. We've always been the Thunderbirds, and I feel we should always stay the Thunderbirds. And I think when you send out another letter, that you maybe emphasize that the T-Birds is different than the Thunderbirds. Because a lot of people, just like I, took it as being the same. So if I wrote T-Birds, I meant Thunderbirds. I don't know why the government is doing this. A lot of them, just like Massapequa, can keep the Chiefs. I don't know why we can't keep the Thunderbirds. I think our children want to grow up with that. They've had it, and that's the way it should stay. And I think we should fight for it, because I don't think we should be strong-armed by the government telling us what to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 11. 12. 13. Oh, 12's coming. Sorry, 12's coming.
Hi, my name is Vic Mangini, and I've been in the Connecticut School District for 68 years. It was called Thunderbirds then. I don't see any reason to change the name now. There's nothing sensible about it. And as far as spending money spent on foolish things, I think this would be a good thing to follow through with. That's it.
Thank you. Number 13. 14.
Steve Berkland, class of '67. my yearbook that has the Thunderbird on it. The 64 first class yearbook with the Thunderbird on it. This offends me. I'll give it back to him. If you look at the image on that, it isn't as dramatic or forceful as you saw in the yearbooks. It's offensive to me because before Connecticut existed, where did we go to school? The high school kids went to Sayville. Sayville's known as the Golden Flashes. You look at that image, it's a golden flash on the T-shirt of a Goonie bird. Now, that I could see upsetting somebody. I'd like to know if ever and when the school district ever heard from any tribe on Long Island about the T-bird name. I'd also like to know what the complaint sounded like or is written up like from the Board of Regents. 7-6, I'll stand down.
So the board did hear from the National Guardians Association. That was the one tribe that did reach out to the board. They would like us to fight for the Thunderbird. So we originally missed the first deadline to reach out to other Native American tribes, and when we did try to reach out, they were unresponsive because we had missed that deadline.
They also threatened to take us to court.
All right, we're not going to shout. We're not going to shout from the crowd.
But Marisol, you need to explain to the community that they also threatened to take us to court if we didn't fight for the Thunderbird.
Right, yes, they did threaten to fight to sue if we did not fight for the Thunderbird.
I also would like to say, there were other tribes, though, that felt that that tribe was the outliner tribe, and that's not my word, that's their word. So, you know.
Did they write you guys? Or put it on paper?
Guys, listen, no shouting from the audience, please.
Right. Yeah, so I just want you guys to know that too, that, you know, all the tribes do not agree with the tribe that did write us.
Number 14. Oh. You want to speak again? No. Thank you, sir. I just need you to do it from the mic, just for the people at home.
They taught us how to shout when we were cheerleaders, you know? Is there a record on the school board's records going back to when they decided on the original T-bird thing, and can you publish that?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Talking, going back to 50 or 60.
When the T-bird first became the T-bird or the
Who made
Thunderbird?
that decision originally?
I don't have that. I'm sure Dr. Senimore could find that information and let the community know. Number 15. 16. $17. No, she's. Yeah, I think she's. You're number 17?
17.
Okay.
I'm going to go off my notes a little bit as by way of background. A little over 20 years ago, New York State sat down with New York State tribal leaders, not people from Utah or Texas, and spent the next 20 years researching the issue of objectionable and racist mascots. And in terms of school districts in New York State. There were dozens of public meetings held, which I'm sure you were all at. And as a result of those meetings came this directive. This is not something that somebody pulled out of their hat, and it was done with tribal leaders at the table for 20 years. So nobody made this up, and yes, tribal leaders made very much of a contribution about what was and was not offensive. The long-term goal of the state ed department and the tribal leaders was to modernize instruction. There are many words, actions, mascots that we don't use anymore. That I'm old enough to remember when water fountains said white and colored. We don't do that anymore. And if you're one of those people that says, I really am wishing back for those days when the colored people had their own water fountains, it's not relevant anymore. Things change, people move on. We have one obligation here, and that's to teach children and to make them safe. That's it. There's nothing else that we have been tasked with as a school district, is to make sure that kids get an education, and what they can expect from us is that adults will talk civilly to each other, not talk over each other, not talk when other people are talking, and they can expect that from us, and hopefully we'll deliver that. I'm unclear how the ugliness of our use of offensive terminology helps us reach those goals. Our only purpose is to support and encourage our kids. Not one more penny of my tax dollar will happily be going towards supporting any of this nonsense. It's over. We tried, we lost, it's over. Whether or not T-Bird is offensive, it doesn't matter. Sign the agreement and let's get back to teaching science and mathematics.
Thank you. Number 18.
Hello? Just a housekeeping item. Is the board aware that our president ordered flags flown at half-mast from yesterday until sundown Sunday in honor of the school children that were shot in church? Now, the fire departments have lowered theirs. I just want to rest assured that Connecticut School District will also lower theirs at half-mast. Very easy to find this out.
I will definitely look into that.
Okay, with that said, it's not over, contrary to the previous speaker, okay? Where the tides are turning is what's going on in our government, okay? Our government is now getting rid of a lot of woke stuff that never should have been put in place to begin with, okay? So the Thunderbird symbol is a symbol that existed throughout the world in one form or another. In Africa, in China, in the Middle East, South America, and North America. Because any place where there was lightning in the sky, people looked to it for strength, inspiration, and sometimes fear. So there are T-Bird, Thunderbird symbols in every culture. There was nothing derogatory about it. It's a sign of strength and power. Now, this jersey is over 35 years old. My kids wore it. My grandkids are wearing it now. And my grandkids probably wear it, even though it'll probably be falling apart. Okay? Now, the Native American Guardian Association, which is the largest association of American Indian tribes, has reached out, offered support, okay, and is against all of these changes. There's nothing derogatory about the chiefs Massapequa decided to hold their ground. I just question why this board gave in, okay, without putting up more of a fight, and public comments coming now when you're more than halfway into this process is a little bit concerning to me, okay? Have you reached out to the Federal Board of Education, or have they reached out to you?
No. The federal?
Yes, no?
Well, we heard from the federal through the OCR complaint that filed against the district.
Say that again?
We heard from the federal government through the Office of Civil Rights complaint that was filed against the district.
Right, are they on board with holding the ground on this?
The position of the federal government is that they are in opposition of the state regulation.
Okay, well, should stand our ground with this, okay, because once you give up a little, you're gonna be giving up more.
With regards to the flag, we take great pride in that, so as superintendent, I apologize, we will address the flag right away.
I also would like to let everybody know that part of the settlement is we get to keep all of our imagery. So it doesn't matter if it's the old Thunderbird, the one on the yearbook, or anything. We actually get to keep any imagery and logos that we have according to the settlement. I'm not saying that makes you guys feel better, but I just wanted you to know we do get to keep it.
Yes, yes. Number 19. Number 20.
Members of the board, administration, and my fellow neighbors, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. This meeting isn't about swapping one mascot name for another. It's whether Connecticut tries to mask its identity and its legal rights permanently or continues to fight for the community that has clearly been asked what we'd like to do, and over 60% of residents have said, keep litigating to preserve the Thunderbirds. That's a mandate by the community, not a suggestion. My understanding of the proposed settlement means litigation of some form is likely to continue either way. The proposed settlement demands that Connecticut abandon its appeal and any future challenge. The district has represented that T-Birds have never been associated with indigenous imagery, directly contradicting your prior filings in federal court, and treated Thunderbirds and T-Birds as one native origin identity. You cannot now take the opposite position with the state without courting allegations of misrepresentation. Signing a paper to compromise is a permanent factual reversal that exposes this district to serious legal risks by groups representing indigenous peoples. I believe that was referenced a few times this evening. The U.S. Department of Education has opened a Title VI investigation, that was also referenced, entering into a settlement agreement that erases Thunderbird's identity and disclaims the Native heritage invites more exposure, not less. Native activists have put the board on notice that compliance via erasure is discriminatory and will be challenged in court. Why settle one case to start another? The responsible path forward is to honor the survey, honor the people speaking here tonight, and to continue the litigation to preserve Thunderbirds. Manage the interim branding, however. You've already whitewashed my shirt, it says T-Birds. Reject any deals that requires you to rewrite history about what a T-Bird means to Connecticut. Stand with your residents, vote to continue to fight for the Thunderbirds. If you're looking for a rubber stamp, I'd like you going.
We're donating it.
Thank you. Number 21.
I just have something. Thank you, Mr. Berger. I would just like everyone to know the numbers that are being spoken about with the 60% is when the board asked the question again before they knew that T-Bird was even on the table. We asked, did you want to fight for the Thunderbird name and the imagery, or were you willing to take the name Thunder? It was not, were you willing to take the name T-Bird? because it wasn't on the table at that point. So I do want you guys to know the two questions that were asked with the numbers that people are speaking about were for the name Thunder, not T-Bird. This is just, giving you the facts.
Thank you, Board President, Dr. Senamore, and board members for letting me speak, and my neighbors. I've been a resident of Connecticut for about 23, 24 years, and I'm 4 generations Northport resident. I found a very wonderful and welcome and strong community here at Connecticut. And I think that if we disregard the Thunderbird name, we're really going to lose a lot of our identity here. I don't see anything racist or derogatory about Thunderbirds. And I'll keep it short and sweet. Keep Thunderbirds. That's it.
Thank you. Number 22.
Just 2 clarifications before I start what I want to say. The 60% is also not 60% of residents. It's 60% of the people who responded to the survey. So unless every resident in the district responded to that survey, we cannot say 60% of residents. Also, this is not the first time that people could come and speak about the mascot. The mascot has been on the board agenda at almost every meeting in some form for the last 2, 3, 4 years. So there have been opportunities before tonight. So just putting that out there. First, so my comments. First, when I say you here, please understand that I mean it not necessarily about the people currently sitting on the stage, but the people who would have been making decisions at different stages. I think the district screwed up. There were points in the process where you could have spoken with local tribes to seek permission to keep the mascot. To have someone from local tribes come to a meeting to explain why this process was happening and what it means for Native American people. To seek good faith extensions before deadlines. You didn't. You filed a lawsuit to keep the mascot. Now, I'm not talking about organizations like NAGA. I am talking about local tribes. I've spoken about this issue a couple of times and haven't been quite clear on my position. Let me do that now. I think the mascot should be changed in full compliance with the state policy. However, knowing what is on the table now, the compromised T-Birds are continuing a lawsuit. I support the settlement the state has offered. I didn't grow up in Connecticut, but I have lived here since 2001. Very, very rarely have I heard the mascot referred to as a Thunderbird. It is predominantly T-Birds. Even Tuesday, there was a post on community Facebook groups promoting spirit wear at orientation with an image that said, T-Birds. Once a T-Bird, always a T-Bird. Considering that there was a district attempt to continue to use T-Bird and the state will allow us to regain Thunderbird if there is a change in policy, I don't understand what the problem is here. And this. Keeping T-Birds in the logo are a win. It might not be the win some want, but it is a win. Again, we should do the right thing and change the mascot. But the district faces more important and costly things. Take the deal.
Thank you. Number 23.
First of all, I feel like a celebrity here. This guy over here is taking pictures of everybody. So let me just get a picture of you guys real quick, just for the record. You have one? Okay. I don't know what you're doing over there, but I think he's videotaping. Well, videotape this. Perfect, thank you. So this is the second meeting I've been to in 40 years being in Connecticut. I'm actually a Massapequa chief by heart. The one, I got this in the mail 2 days ago. It is great. I learned a lot sitting here, guys, before Labor Day, right? Whoever wrote it, you did a great job to confuse everybody. You know why I came down here? To see how ridiculous this whole thing is. to be down here to spend money. I just learned you signed off on $340,000 as a line item to change the logo. You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. That's taxpayer money. Whoever decided, I don't even know who votes on it because I don't really follow it, but to sign off, oh, we got it approved. Well, give it to something else. Give it to another art department or something rather than fighting for this. This is ridiculous. I stand behind Thunderbird. It's been around for years. It's been around for years. Keep it. You have to change all the outfits and the logos everywhere. It's 340 grand. That's like a no-brainer as a businessman. Like, don't do it. What are you guys thinking? So I'm just shocked. I came down here just to see how ridiculous my money's being spent. It's crazy. That's it.
Thank you. So just to clarify, that money was put aside because there is a state directive for school districts to change. So in case we did need to change, that money would have been there. It was approved by the community when you guys voted on the budget.
So every May, the community votes on the budget, and it was part of the budget that everybody voted on. It was spoken about at, publicly at meetings for anybody to see before voting.
Number 20.
We're giving facts. It's not that.
Jackie, can you please get control of yourself?
No,
You're
no.
adults, you know, it's time.
Guys,
step aside.
no yelling from the audience, no. Please just
Nobody
address
can
me,
hate
thank
you.
you.
Control yourself.
Number 20.
Hi, my name is.
Guys, everybody needs to be respectful, like I said in the beginning. Please just, guys, I am asking everybody to not speak to each other, speak to me, do not yell. I will have to have people be removed. Yes. Ms. Napolitano, if you can't, you will have to be removed. I'm sorry. Number 24, please proceed.
Hi, Emily. I seem to trigger people, so I guess that's my task here. I live on the Unkechaug land. I want to recognize the land that you all live on, which is the Secataug land. Now, I heard a few things here that are quite disturbing. First of all, the largest organization with representation of 250 Native tribes is the National Congress of American Indians, which actually stand against having caricatures of their honored and their symbolism, which the Thunderbird is one of them. Now, the Thunderbird, the meaning for Native American traditionally is represents supernatural power, strength, and protection. What you have, the imagery, is actually a caricature. It is racist, and I find it rich that a community, predominantly a white community, is telling people of color and indigenous people what is racist and what is not racist. You cannot judge what is racist. You're not in a position or have experienced it. And just so I want to make sure that we speak on locally, which we have the Selknam Nation, the Shinnecock, thank you.
Please, no shouting from the audience.
We have the Unkechaug Nation.
No shouting from the audience. People will need to be, no shouting.
The Unkechaug Nation and the chief from the Unkechaug Nation in May of 2025 spoke specifically on the caricatures that are being used as mascots. It perpetuates racist symbolism, is harmful. Now, I understand that you have majority people that are wanting to keep it. The thing is that indigenous people are telling you no. It is harmful to their community. It is like supporting racism within the community. So I hope that the board takes into account the Shinnecock Nation, the Selknam Nation, and the Unkechaug Nation, which is against it. This weekend marks the Shinnecock Nation's powwow. I don't think I will see any of you there. I will be there. Support Native American and their imagery. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 25.
My name is Nancy Goroff. I want to thank the board for giving this opportunity, and I have heard about tremendous pride in this district, for this district. I cannot believe that the people here or the people of this district will feel any less pride regardless of what the name of the mascot is. The pride comes from the important things of giving kids the opportunity to learn, not just in their classes, but also in their sports. If we are teaching our kids that names are more important than behaviors, we're teaching them the wrong lessons. Obviously, our kids need to see us showing respect for all people, not just the people who look like us, but also people who look different from us. And that behavior is much more important. In addition, Connecticut has lots of taxpayers paying lots of money to provide a quality education. We should not be wasting taxpayer dollars on fruitless litigation. This settlement includes that if the provisions of the state are found to be something that needs to be abandoned by law, then the settlement becomes moot. So the risk to the district in signing this is absolutely zero, and the cost of continuing litigation needlessly and fruitlessly is significant. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 26.
I just want to say something. I think it's fair for the community to know that these two speakers do not live here. They're part of an organization that is a very far left-wing organization that promotes CRT and DEI. I just wanted to let the community know that. Thank you.
So Connecticut has a policy that we do not limit who can come to the podium. 6.
Hello, my name is Dan Olson. I'm a Connecticut graduate, graduating in 1984. My son Luke was a Connecticut graduate in 2023, ranked 31st in his class, 2 years as the varsity swim captain, the only swim team in recent memory that actually won the league title. My brother and sister went here, graduating in 79 and 80 respectively. My mother worked in the kitchen for 30 years. When I first came here, I wasn't going to speak. You know, the gentleman asked me if I wanted to speak. I said, maybe, maybe not. I was kind of up in the air on my position on this matter. But some of the things I've heard today about tradition, pride, loyalty, courage, you know, that means something. That means something to me and should mean something to everybody, every American. And I sympathize with Native Americans who have been really treated poorly. Every single treaty that's been signed with them has been abrogated and changed and went back on. So I'm very sensitive to that. And in response to the woman who came up before, I will be at the Shinnecock Powwow, which I've been there many, many years. Okay. However, I go to the board, and having been here, I'm 59 years old. I never knew necessarily what the Thunderbird was, okay, embarrassingly enough, as a graduate, until I came to the back-to-school night several years ago with my son. There is no class, no elective class for Native American studies. If we want to do something to help out our fellow Native American citizens, why don't we start there? Instead of sitting here and using this woke agenda with whitewashing things which don't help them at all, realistically. It doesn't help them with the poor educational system that they find themselves in. Nothing. It doesn't help them, people understand what they're up against every single day, what wrongs have been done to them by the church, by the government. None of that has been ever covered anywhere. And I call upon the board to have an elective within the next few years to teach students of this. Because I think it's shameful to be having this discussion without looking to help these people. As far as, I don't personally, I see it as an educational opportunity to be called the Thunderbirds. I see it as an opportunity to bring a spotlight on these people. And I mean these people in a bad way, just Native Americans. The rebranding costs you mentioned of $300,000, that should be borne by New York State. Why should my tax dollars go for that? I didn't want to do that, per se. I didn't come up with this grand idea to rebrand. That should be borne by the state of New York. And I think almost anybody here would agree with that. And lastly, I wonder if, has anyone ever reached out to President Trump? I'm not a supporter of President Trump. I know the people behind me will kill me. But, Linda McMahon was at the Massapequa meeting the other night. But where is she today? Where is she here? No one has reached out to them. In closing, I'm not in favor of changing the name. No offense to my Native American fellow citizens, but I don't see it as really helping them in any way, shape, or form. I don't see, it's not like calling them the Flaming Arrows or any of the other offensive things that I've seen out there. It's part of their mythology, and what are we going to do next? Change the name Connecticut, change the name Wantor, Massapequa, any of the other names that we've taken from these people? That's the least of our sins. So if you have my vote, I'm not in favor of changing it. Strictly for, it's not going to help them. And lastly, why should we bear the cost of that? That should be New York State. Thank you very much for your time.
I just want to let
Thank
you
you.
know that
I'm just going to have Dr. Centimore say a few words.
So from a curriculum standpoint, as educators, learning and teaching, that's our bread and butter. So I appreciate the point about curriculum. And certainly Native American, especially Long Island Native American history, is a part of curriculum, social studies curriculum, and especially in the fourth grade.
Yes, I just wanted to say that one of our prior board members, Jack, she has been in touch with Linda McMahon. I just wanted to let you know that.
Number 27.
Marisol, can you repeat the differences in the numbers for one more time that you had on that paper? That the 300,000 was for a total change if we were to go with something different, because I think it was a little confusing.
Yeah, $323,000 would have been to change the mascot completely. We would not be T-Birds, we would not be Thunderbirds, we would be the Flaming Seagulls. We would be something else. That would be the $323,000. To maintain T-Birds and lose Thunderbird in the settlement, it would cost the district $86,000 to change that over. And if we were to litigate, we would probably need to approve another $100,000 to $125,000. 27. I just need you to press the button on the.
Hello, people. My name is Michael. I think all the symbols and Thunderbird chiefs, it was to honor the Native Americans. I went to school in Woodland, in East Meadow Junior High. It was Woodland Warriors. I was 12 years old. I was proud of that. I looked up to that. We all wanted to be Woodland Warriors. It wasn't degrading. It didn't hurt us. And I knew it, and I was 12 years old, and we all knew it was to honor the Native Americans. That's why it was done. It wasn't done to disgrace them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have did that. All of the names. But I also looked up surveys. Now, there's groups that are against all of that, all of these names and mascots, but the people, the surveys of the Native American people are for it. They understand that it was done for honor. Maybe it should, maybe the groups are the ones that are against it. And I'm sure those groups, if there was no Native American names like Massapequa, the Chiefs, the Warriors, they'd be complaining and saying, how come you didn't name a mascot the Chiefs? So you gotta learn to say no. I believe in majority rules. It's America. That's what I believe in. And I just wanted to say to people, if you find out who everybody is, and that includes people in Albany, if they don't vote your way or the way you like, remember who they are, remember their names, and don't vote for them. Or don't vote for the people that appoint them. That's the power we have. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 28.
Hello. So it seems, regardless, there's going to be a lawsuit one way or the other. That seems to be facts. Everyone has strong opinions, T-Birds, Thunderbirds. 2 or 3 years ago, if it was presented that we were losing the nickname and we could keep T-Birds, I think it would be overwhelmingly in the favor of keeping T-Bird. That's not the case. Now it's a battle between T-Bird and Thunderbird. There's only been about 1 or 2 people that have talked about why we're all here, and that's the children. And I don't think the children, when they leave here, go on. If a kid left Connecticut and won the Nobel Peace Prize or participated in a mass shooting, I don't think they'd say a Thunderbird did this or a T-Bird did that. It would be a Connecticut high school student that did that. And I think that's what matters. And I think we need to get back to developing children that can go out and thrive in the real world and not deal with this stuff. And I've surveyed maybe 2 or 3 dozen kids from the age of 10 to 23 who recently graduated, and they identify as T-Birds. They root for T-Birds. They don't root for Thunderbirds. I know that's what our original name was. Once a T-Bird, that's what we are. But let's move on. Let's appreciate each other's opinions. It seems like the path of least resistance when it comes to, fiscally speaking, is to keep T-Birds. And again, rewind 3 years ago, if that was an option, we wouldn't even be here today. Thanks.
Thank you. Number 29.
Good evening. My name is Vic Fisher, and I just have a question on a point of clarification. We've crossed so many lines right here. I'm totally lost. If we went back to 2023, when this current situation first became state law, there was as I recall, a penalty associated with the deadline of June 2025, which has since passed, a penalty that was detrimental to the school district. If we take this current deal from New York State, this current proposal, what happens if we don't take the deal, if we turn it down, what happens to the penalty?
So the school district put in an extension request to New York State. We asked New York State to extend the deadline to change the mascot. So school districts had till June 30th, 2025 to change the mascot. Connecticut asked the state for an extension. We were granted an extension until March of 2026.
Okay.
If we don't accept the settlement, the state could say that we are not participating in good faith.
True.
And then they would reject their agreement, and they would very likely revoke the extension.
But what would the penalty be?
So the consequences of that, according to the state, is loss of funding and or removal of board members.
Okay. Now, I think that is very important. No matter what your position here is tonight, we don't know the final position we'd be if we rejected the deal. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's important to remember, everybody, because we cannot make a true decision based on factual knowledge at this point.
Thank you. Number 30.
I'd first like to apologize for my outburst. I kept hearing somebody speaking when other people were speaking, and I felt it was very rude, so I wanted to respond, and I apologize for that. I'm Tiana Morano. I'm from the Shinnecock and Hassamasco Nation. I'm also a taxpayer in the Connecticut District. My children go to this school. I've been to the elementary schools teaching history about Native Americans. Nobody has asked me to be here today. Not one person has asked me formally to come and speak. So I am going to speak alone. My tribe said, "We are human beings, we are not your mascot." I want you to hear from me what I feel about this mascot issue and understand where I'm coming from. My grandfather was the chief of the Hassamasco Nation. Native blood runs deep in me. I have been told on social media that I'm not a real person, that I'm actually a fake person, and I would never show up to a board meeting alone. But here I am, standing here alone in front of a district that does not like me. I've heard it many times again on social media that I can meet up and talk about my history, never once being invited formally. When the conversation is about Native representation, the voice of an actual Native person in the room should not be dismissed, nor on social media, where the social media groups are called Connecticut parents, Connecticut teachers, and just recently, Jackie, a board member, posted the Thunderbirds' brand new logo on the gym floors of Oakdale, Bohemia. When did you guys make that? Were you guys supposed to be making new Thunderbird? Looked nice and polished too. She was proud about it.
It's not,
Oh, it's not new, but it is polished. It is getting ready for the new school year, and that is part of the monetaries that would have to be changed.
So New York State knows about all of that.
Correct.
Gotcha. My Shinnecock members cannot be here today because we too are fighting New York State. You might put us into the liberal agenda, but we are fighting the same war. But I want you to hear what I have to say about this. I also want to address the argument that organizations like NAGA, the Native American Guardians Association, are not here in this district. I am. I should have been invited here. I should have been invited to speak after I taught your children in the elementary school about the local natives, but I never was. And that goes to show me that there was no respect from the day one. I was told to be quiet. This is not just about a mascot or a name. For Native people, standing up for ourselves is often coming as a risk. There have been Natives that have been threatened, including myself on social media, obviously not taken seriously. My children are, too, going to be possibly threatened after I've spoken here tonight, which is why I never wanted to. The only Native person in this district is telling you that Thunderbird does cause harm. But ask me why. Nobody has. If you've made a deal about T-Birds, that's okay. I'm happy with any deal that acknowledges the Native voice. Changing a name is not erasing history, it is correcting it. It is about teaching our children that real honor means listening to the people that are most affected, not clinging to some outside groups or symbols that do not represent us. And I'm telling you, it does not represent us. I'm not here to try to make everybody spend more money. I am too a taxpayer. I too will be paying for litigation. But I'm also being laughed at by everybody in this room as I speak out. I ask you to stand on the side of dignity and respect the truth. Do not let outside organizations like NAGA drown out actual Native voices like myself in my own community. Listen to me and listen to what I'm saying. This name does cause harm. And it's time to move forward. Stop the litigation. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just got word that the gym floors were replaced in 2019. And I just want to say for myself, I apologize if you feel like you were not welcome here. Every community member and taxpayer is very much welcome to come to our meetings and always speak. So I am deeply sorry if you felt that you were not welcomed and no one reached out to you. I know I didn't reach out to anybody because I didn't want it to look like I was favoring one group over another. I wanted to stay very neutral, and I wanted the public to come forward on their own.
Yeah, I'd like to second that also, that no one is laughing and we want everybody to come, regardless if they share our opinions or not. Again, we're here for the community voted us in, we want to hear from everyone.
And as superintendent, I want everyone in the community to feel that their children are safe in our schools.
Number 31.
Good evening. I'm Christy Lavati Strecker, and just like Steve, I'm from the class of '67. Our class, I believe, was the first class to be in the high school for all 4 years. And I don't know, Steve, you probably remember how we chose. It wasn't a group of adults that decided what our name should be. It was put up to the students. Color combinations, the name. I recently read an article that said Thunderbird means resiliency and heritage. And I'd like to speak to the heritage part. I was, I guess, 7th and 8th grade. They called it junior high at the time. And we took great pride in the school. It wasn't even finished. At the high school, we ate lunch on the auditorium stage while the construction workers were doing the ceilings. To go to the football field is where the buses are parked now, and you had to walk through this muddy goop that kind of had a smell to it to get out to the field for physical education. I was a cheerleader, and from what I remember, Thunderbirds was hard to fit in one of the cheers. We are the T-Birds, the mighty, mighty T-Birds. That people want to know who we are, right? But so I married my late husband. We met here, married. We had 4 children that were raised in the Connecticut School District, all doing very well. I have 4 grandchildren. My middle granddaughter just graduated. They were in soccer, all the band, music department activities. Heritage. Heritage doesn't only mean what your ethnicity is, but what you're feeling connected to. And I'm connected to Thunderbirds. There was probably some disagreement. Should we have blue and silver uniforms? We settled on the red. And I was surprised to even see the black, but it looks wonderful. As I said, T-Birds, it's like, I'm Christine. Nobody calls me Christine. They call me Christy or Chris, the nickname. But the root is what I'm most concerned about losing, because we took great pride, and it wasn't a quick overnight, oh, let's vote, let's see, what do we want? But the students were involved in the decision. Are there students that are meeting regularly with administrators to get their feelings on what it should be, what it should stay? I mean, we probably at home have every single variation of the logos for clothing. We have Can You Feel the Thunder? This is Thunder Nation, once a T-Bird, always a T-Bird. It's heritage. And I haven't even gotten into my own study of what I feel about the money, but actually seeing Mrs. Centimore here, how many of you actually, when you have your children graduated out of here, continue going to the concerts, continue going to the games? There's a group of us that still do that, and it's from the early on classes because we feel connected. And it's Thunderbird, meaning resiliency and heritage. And I think that sometimes we give up too much and sacrifice what our heritage is. But Steve, where did you go? Oh. No, I don't need the yearbook.
I opened it to the cheerleaders.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I do see some of these people around, but we all look very different from when this was taken. But Veritas.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Number 32.
Good evening. My name is Jeff. Just listening to the last lady. That was kind of very poignant that she said. My 2 kids went to Connecticut. We never said Thunderbirds. It was always T-Birds. So as far as that, it's up to the board to make this decision. So we hope we make the right one. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 33.
Hi, as the board knows, I've been here forever. I moved into the Connecticut district in the 70s. My 3 kids went here. My grandson went here. I started teaching here in 1986. And part of my teaching career, I taught Native American Studies. So once upon a time, we had a high school class called Native American Studies. And what I've noticed is a change over time. In 1986, the Thunderbird, was used all the time. And slowly through the decades, we did use T-Birds more and more. So I believe now T-Bird is the way to go because that has been used consecutively in the last couple of decades with the kids, with the sport teams, with music. So I am in favor of the New York State proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 34. $35. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and sharing. Yes? Yeah, sure. Just go up to the podium. Please don't record this gentleman. Well, you are being live streamed at home, so I don't know if that matters to you. Not for the media, please. Thank you. Sir, is that? I don't know. Sir? Okay, so no video. And no pictures of this gentleman, please. He's being live streamed.
Yeah.
This gentleman's going to speak, and then you can go after him.
By all means.
I'm here because I got this notice 2 days ago. Had no idea anything about this. So I have a very objective view, no position whatsoever. I'm like, what's this about? I am a resident, so I looked it up. I'm like, this is really interesting. So I did research. My first thought is, what do the Native Americans think about it? I did a little research myself. I don't know if anybody has just Googled it or AI'd. But I'm just going to read from Gemini. It says, the majority of Native Americans are offended by the use of Native American names, imagery, and mascots in sports with the Association on American Indian Affairs, the American Psychological Association, and other tribal organizations, condemning them as harmful stereotypes and a form of discrimination. So I did a couple other researches, which basically says the majority of people, even excluding groups. So my thought was, once again, completely objectively, what do the Native American people feel? So I was actually a little surprised, but happily surprised, that a few people here tonight have some heritage, even if they're not from this area. My thought was, I looked over some information, excuse me, and one of the criteria, I believe it was, for the district to keep the mascots and the name and the imagery was to get permission from, I guess, tribal leaders or Native Americans. I don't know the particulars on that. One of my first thoughts is, well, why don't you just get that? So it doesn't appear, or from what I'm hearing from other people, like there's been a lot of in-depth gathering of information from the Native Americans. And just as a side note, I was kind of interested because just a couple months ago, randomly, I was speaking with somebody who happens to collect Native American artifacts, and they basically said they're all over the place on Long Island. You just need to know what to look for. Excuse me. So it just made me think about, like, this land was primarily all Native American. And if anyone knows a little bit about the history or has looked into it, I have in the past, just out of interest, it's pretty atrocious what happened. So there are definitely strong feelings and emotions tied to the imagery and the logos and the history of the school district. I went to the school district, so I could understand kind of both sides. But once again, if this is truly about what the Native Americans feel, and even that group, Naga, or Naga, whatever you call it, I did research on that. That's a small side group that the majority of Native American groups don't agree with. So once again, just what are the facts regarding Native Americans? And another thought that did cross my mind, not knowing anyone was going to be here, once again, of that heritage, my thought was, if you went to the powwow that's going to be happening in Shinnecock this weekend, and you actually did a survey of actual Native Americans, what would they say? I mean, those were just some basic thoughts that I had. So my thought was just getting right to some key issues. And what was also interesting is, you know, I looked up some of the old yearbooks. Almost every yearbook, from what I understand, has the word veritas. Does anyone know what that means? Truth. So I thought that was interesting. So my thought is, well, what's the truth? You know? So what do the Native American people really think and feel beyond the lawsuit, all that stuff? I'm not even bringing that up, because if this is truly about Native Americans and how they feel, you should really just at least be looking into that, even if you make your own decisions and regard everything else and just want to go ahead with the mascot just because you have it and don't want to deal with it and don't want to spend the money. I think it's at least respectful to hear from those that are actually from that heritage. That's it.
Thank you.
And
Number-
I just want to say, I should have said I don't want to hear any applause or anything, but just wanted to give information of my research.
Thank you. Number 35.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I am a proud Connecticut class of 92 alumni. I played sports, and I'd be interested to know how many of the people on the board actually, A, went to Connecticut, and B, ever put a Connecticut jersey on. Because if you did, you would understand the pride that goes into that and the courage that goes in every time you geared up for a game. That being said, I was sitting home watching, and it seemed like a lot of people got up and had a lot to say from the Native American standpoint. So here's my question. Why do you support this settlement as Native Americans? The settlement lets the board and the district keep the T-birds. The board and the district have stated in court and publicly that the T-bird has Native American roots. As the board has said, the district can keep all Native American imagery. To the Native Americans here, you just said you don't want these characters. So why would you support this settlement agreement? Whether you're on the left or the right, Native American or not, let's stand up against this corrupt deal that the board has hid from us for months. 60% want to litigate. Let's let the court decide the constitutionality of this. You have tried to frame this as saving money, but there is no price tag on selling out. You're selling out our communities for decades, their long traditions and our identity. Also, if you sign this agreement, we will pay the price of litigation against us. Native American groups have already said they're filing a lawsuit if we sign this. This will be a years-long cost, hundreds of thousands of dollars in litigation costs. We're also under federal investigation too. We will lose federal funding. That could be millions of dollars. So it's a lie to say the cost is some $80,000 that saves money. It will be years of drawn-out litigation and cost in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Do what the community wants, honor the Thunderbirds, and keep the name.
Thank you.
I'm going to answer. First, I just would like to remind the community again that 60% number was for the name Thunder, not T-Bird. I'd also like to remind, that was said, that if we could lose federal funding if we do not comply with New York State's directive. I also would like to say, as many who have watched, and I know a lot of people here do not, the majority of the board are graduates of Connecticut. Many of the board, including myself, have been on many sports in Connecticut. I think majority of the board are proud T-Birds. I just would like to.
So I am the only board member that is not an alum. I am from Brentwood, who also had to change their mascot name, right? We were the Brentwood Indians. We are no longer the Indians. I am the only one on this board that's not from Connecticut, but I have 3 children that are T-Birds. two that have graduated, and they played many sports, and they were active and participant in this school. And I proudly went to all their activities, and I proudly supported their T-birdness, if you will. So we are not taking away from what Connecticut is, and just because I am not born and raised in Connecticut does not give me less pride in being a Thunderbird or a T-bird or having my children having been raised as T-birds. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank everybody for sharing their thoughts with us. I want to plead to the community to keep writing us in, to keep sharing your thoughts with us and keep sharing your feelings, because we want to hear from everybody. And I would like a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a good night, have a great Labor Day weekend, and a great start to the school year.